Hi everybody, welcome to Muppet Mindset Story Time. Today we're going to read, let's peel that off, The Muppet Christmas Carol. Because hey, it's March, so let's all read a Christmas story. God knows we need it. Life's awful. Anyway, hello everybody joining us. The way this is going to work, I'm going to read the book to you all. I'm going to not attempt to do the voices because I can't do a Gonzo or a Rizzo. So let's see what's going to happen. Are you all having fun? How is everybody's quarantine? Isn't it the best? Give me a big old thumbs up if you think it's the best. It's not the best. Okay. Here we go. Sorry, Mr. Joe Hennes from Tough Peaks is currently messaging me. Alright. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to... Oh, thumbs up everybody. Okay. Let's flip the camera around and I'll start to read. Okay, we're reading The Muppet Christmas Carol. Let's move my cupcakes out the way. Illustrated by Brooke Vitale and illustrated by Luke Flowers, who's a good buddy of ours. Okay, here we go. Nice things there. Hello, welcome to Muppet Christmas Carol. My name is Charles Dickens, and I'm Rizzo the Rat. Hey, wait a minute, you're not Charles Dickens. I am too. I know the story of A Christmas Carol like the back of my hand. Prove it. There's a little mole on my thumb and... No, not your hand. Tell us the story. The Marleys were dead to begin with, as dead as a doornail. In life, the Marleys have been business partners with a man named Ebenezer Scrooge. When a cold wind blows, it chills you, etc., etc. Oh, here he is. Scrooge was cold, greedy and unkind. His only care in life was making money. Inside his office, Scrooge's bookkeepers shivered. They needed more coal for the fire, but Scrooge was not in a giving mood, not even on Christmas Eve. For others, Christmas was a time of joy, laughter and charity, yet Scrooge hated the holiday. And now I'm going to do my terrible Michael Caine impression. Christmas, bar humbug. Nailed it. Wow, what an unpleasant fellow, treating rats like that on Christmas Eve. I'm a little disappointed they're not in their Hawaiian outfits. After Scrooge left his office for the evening, the mood brightened. His clerk, Bob Cratchit, and the bookkeepers merrily closed up the shop. They were all looking forward to their Christmas holiday. After all, there's only one more... Oh no, that's this bit. Outside, the streets were filled with the joy of the season. The Penguins were hosting their annual figure skating party. Bob had to give it a try. Come on, Rizzo! And off they go. I've always really enjoyed that part of the movie. After a turn on the ice, Bob bid goodnight to the Penguins. Looking up at the moon, he smiled. It was time to go home to his family. We have Ye Olde One More Sleep in Tavern. Seriously, the illustrations in this book are incredible. I'll point a couple of things out as we go through. Elsewhere in the city, Scrooge approached his own home, which had once belonged to his partners, Jacob and Robert Marley. Now, once again, I must ask you that the Marleys were dead. The one thing you must remember, or nothing that follows will seem wondrous. As Scrooge bent to open his door... Sorry, I will try harder to get the words right. As Scrooge bent to open his door, a cold wind began to blow. Suddenly, the door knocker transformed into the face of Robert Marley. Whoa! Such a terrifying part of the movie. Scrooge cried out in shock, but when he looked again, the knocker had returned to normal. Did that give anybody else nightmares when they were children? Shaken, Scrooge went inside. He dressed for bed and settled down next to the fire, certain he had simply imagined the face of his departed partner. As Scrooge sat staring into the flames, the fire went out and the spirits of Jacob and Robert Marley appeared. Oh, what a cracking song. The Marleys showed Scrooge the change they'd earned through their many acts of greed in life. As the Marleys howled and danced around the room, they issued Scrooge a warning. If Scrooge did not change his ways, he would end up like them. The Marleys told Scrooge that he would be haunted by 3 spirits. Only with the help of these spirits could he change his fate. Then, with a final rattle of their chains, the Marleys vanished. And with a cracking, banging song. The Marleys' visit left Scrooge deeply unsettled. He lit a candle to ward off the darkness and got into bed. When the clock chimed 1, Scrooge awoke to the bright lights filling his room. He drew back his bed curtains. Floating by his bed was a childlike spirit. I am the... why am I doing a deep voice for her? I am the ghost of Christmas past. Nailed it. The spirit told Scrooge that she had come to save him from the Marleys' terrible fate. She offered Scrooge her hand and gestured to the world outside his suddenly open window. Scrooge hesitated to leap into thin air, but the spirit assured him that he would be safe. He took her hand and they flew out of the window, and into the past. Hello, London. Goodbye, lunch. Soon they arrived at Scrooge's childhood. Scrooge recognised the place at once. It was his old school, and there was his younger self. It was Christmas Eve here too. All around, happy children were preparing to go home for the holiday, but young Scrooge had nowhere to go, no family to return to. He had to spend the holiday at school alone. Rats don't understand these things. You were never a lonely child? No, Peter Linz, no character voices. If you want to jump in and do some character voices, mate, join in. I had 1,274 brothers and sisters. Tell you what, I'll try Sam.
It is the American way. What? Oh, it is the British way.
There you go, that's as close as we're getting. I might give you a fuzzy if you're lucky, Peter Linz. Also, Tough Pigs and Johanna's managed to get their way into it. Thank you, Peter Linz. I don't know why I keep saying your last name. Time moved forward and Scrooge found himself back in London. Once again, it was Christmas Eve and the lamplighters were plying their trade. Hey, lamp the light. Oh, for goodness sake. Lamp the light, lock the rat. Lamp the light, lock the rat. There's Fuzzy. Ah, waka waka. Come inside. Ah, waka. Etc. The spirit had brought Fozzie to the site of his first job. Old Fozziewig's rubber chicken factory. Light and laughter poured from the building. It's the... My terrible Michael Caine again. It's the Fozziewig annual Christmas party. I'm Michael Caine. Nailed it. No Muppet Mindset book. Yeah, no, I'll work on the results, fine. Scrooge rushed inside. The factory was full of music and merriment. Everyone was enjoying the party. Whose voice? Oh, I can do a bit of Swedish Chef. There you go. That's as close as we're getting there. Who else we got? Can I do any of those other voices? Nah, you've lost me. Everyone was enjoying the merriment, except young Scrooge, who was fretting over the company's finances. I need to watch the movie to get the voice in. I'll try. At the party, Scrooge watched as his younger self was introduced to a beautiful girl named Belle. It was love at first sight, but as Scrooge knew, this was not the only Christmas he had spent with Belle. I'm surprised they kept this part in the movie. They cut it out, kept this part in the book, I should say. They cut it out of the movie. Time moved forward again. Tears filled Scrooge's eyes as he watched Belle tell his younger self that though he claimed to have loved her, he had chosen money over her one too many times, and she couldn't marry him. Scrooge begged the spirit to show him no more. Crying into his hands, Scrooge sank to the floor. The spirit and the past began to fade. When Scrooge looked up again, he was alone in his bedroom. Sing When Love Is Gone. I'm going to leave that to the wonderful people who actually sing in the movie. Scrooge returned to bed, but he didn't sleep. A short while later, the clock struck 2, and light music filled the room. If you're lucky, I'll sing it a bit later. A cheery face appeared in the doorway. All right, let's do my best Jerry Nelson here. Come in and know me better, man. I am the ghost of Christmas present. Oh, I got the lines wrong way around. Scrooge got out of bed. The second spirit was so full of joy and warmth that Scrooge couldn't help but smile. But his smile faded as the spirit began to talk about... Sorry, I'm reading this on the screen and people are writing things. But his smile faded as the spirit began to talk about the wonder of Christmas. Scrooge had never understood why people love Christmas so much. Before this day is over, you shall, said the spirit. That's my babies. The spirit led Scrooge into the streets of London. Scrooge watched as people greeted each other warmly, sang carols together, and exchanged gifts. Can I just say that I've always really liked this character, and I think he should come back and do things. Thanks. Peter, you can play him, please. Thank you. For the first time in his life, Scrooge began to understand that Christmas was a time for sharing love, and despite himself, he began to have fun. Next, the spirit brought Scrooge to the house of Bob Cratchit. Scrooge's clerk. Bob was just arriving home from church with his son, a small frail child named Tiny Tim, voiced, or I should say now performed, by Mr. Peter Linz. So I'm not going to attempt that voice in front of you, Peter. Goose. They're cooking goose down there. I'll give you a piggy. Scrooge watched as Bob's wife and children rushed to greet him. He could see that what the family lacked in money, they made up for with love. All right, well, let's do it. Let's try a piggy. I can't remember what she says in this film. I'll just give Miss Piggy a go. Hello there, Kermit. Ha 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 ha. There you go. Nailed it. As the Cratchits sat down to dinner, Bob offered a toast to Scrooge. Mrs. Cratchit huffed. Oh, here we go.
Oh, I suppose on the blessed day of Christmas, one must drink to the health of Mr. Scrooge, even though he is stingy, wicked, unfeeling, and badly dressed.
Tiny Tim raised his glass and said in Peter Lin's voice, God bless us, everyone. This is super intimidating. I fell down the chimney and landed on a flaming hot goose. Oh, you have all the fun. Consider this my audition, Peter. Shame filled Scrooge at the thought of how poorly he had treated Bob. The family had so little, and Tiny Tim was clearly very sick. Spirit, tell me if Tiny Tim will get better. But the spirit could not see the future. The spirit's time was the present, and the time was coming to an end. Scrooge begged the spirit to stay, but the gentle ghost had started to fade. Soon the spirit had vanished, along with the Cratchit's loving home. Scrooge found himself alone in a graveyard. I do a great impression of this guy. Ready? Ready? There you go. Mist filled the graveyard, and the ghost of Christmas yet to come appeared. The third spirit scared Scrooge, but Scrooge had learnt so much from the previous spirits. He was ready to learn more. Lead on, spirit. Oh, this is scary. I don't think I want to see anymore. When you're right, you're right. You folks are on your own. We'll meet you at the finale. There's some great little hidden Easter eggs here. That is Jim Henson, the date he passed. Richard Hunt. Jerry Jewell. Jerry Nelson with the Counts from Sesame Street. And I believe that's Jane Henson. In the future, Scrooge listened to several street folk merrily discuss a funeral. He watched as the mysterious dead man's belongings were given away. Fear crept into Scrooge's heart. Though Scrooge had heard no name, he felt he recognised the dead man's things. Next, the spirit brought him to the Cratchit's house. Everything had changed. The once joyful family was now filled with grief. Do the pigs. All right. Scrooge understood that the worst had happened. Tiny Tim had not gotten better.
Hello, mate. I think they talk like this. They're pretty generic English accents, I think. Yes. Well, that was a fine meal. What do you say we have now? Lunch. Yes.
There you go. If I don't get a job after this, I'm going to be very upset. Have we seen the Tough Pigs Easter egg yet? Yes, we have. Back in the graveyard, Scrooge fearfully asked the spirit whose death had caused the street folk such merriment. Lifting his hand, the spirit pointed to the gravestone. Reluctantly, Scrooge approached the stone and knelt in front of it. With shaking hands, he wiped away the frost. At the sight of his home, Scrooge burst into tears. "Oh, spirit, no," he cried. "Please, I'm a changed man." Begging for a second... I almost did the Michael Caine voice for the normal thing. Begging for a second chance, Scrooge fell to his knees. and onto his own bed. Scrooge looked up. He was back in his bedroom. I'm home. It's a miracle. I'm all cane. Hey guys, we're back. Do you think it's safe for us up here? Scrooge is saved. What could happen now? That's what could happen now. Joyfully, Scrooge threw open his window. You there, boy. What today?
Today, it's Christmas Day.
That was my Bean Bunny. Scrooge couldn't believe it. He had given a second chance to show the world he was a changed man. Filled with gratitude, he decided to surprise the Cratchits with a delicious Christmas dinner. Scrooge made his way through the city, giving gifts and smiles to all he passed. His joy was contagious, and he soon found himself followed by a huge crowd of merrymakers. I'll do a little beaker for you all. Let me just have some water. Oh, beaker. There you go. Nailed it. Soon Scrooge arrived at the Cratchits' house. He gestured to the crowd to hide and then knocked on the Cratchits' door. There you go. The Cratchits opened their door to find Scrooge scowling on their doorstep. They thought Bob's boss had come to yell at him for missing work on Christmas Day. Mrs. Cratchit couldn't hold back. She jumped in front of her husband, ready to give Scrooge a piece of her mind. And a fist.
Mr. Scrooge?
She stopped when she saw the crowd of merry Londoners standing behind Scrooge, their hands full of more presents and food than she or Bob had ever seen. Bob stepped forward, an enormous smile on his face. Bob Cratchit, would you and your family care to have us for a little turkey dinner on this fine Christmas day? Do the turkey's voice. From that day on, Scrooge became as good a friend, as good a boss, and as good a man as London ever had. To Tiny Tim, who did get better, Scrooge became like a second father, and it was always said of Scrooge that he knew how to keep Christmas well. And so Tiny Tim observed, in Peter Linz' voice, God bless us, everyone. The end.
Yes, what a fine meal.
And here's some pretty pictures. Again, Mr. Luke Flowers did an incredible job. So, let's flip that back around. Thank you very much. Yes, Peter Linz did ask if I want to play a turkey. I've decided. Thank you very much to everybody who joined us. Thank you very much, Peter. I very much appreciate that. You can purchase this book on Amazon, I believe. That's where I got mine from. That's a lie. I got mine for free. But you can get it on Amazon. It's an amazing book. Like I said, Brooke Vitale did a great job. Luke Flowers did an amazing job. It's been an absolute pleasure. Please, everybody be safe. Everybody wash your hands. And I will see you all at some other point. I'll go find another book we can do. I don't know what it's going to be. But I'm sure I'll find one around. Worst case scenario, I'll read the Muppet character encyclopedia and do terrible impressions of all of them. Thank you very much, everybody. I will see you all soon. And goodbye.